Hey everyone, it's Flack88. Welcome back to our second game of Operation Barbarossa. Let's start this Soviet turn 2.2. Alrighty, it's looking a little rough. My gracious opponent, Captain G, is doing an excellent job of crossing rivers and pushing deep into Soviet territory before the weather is turning sour. We are turn 2. We're still sunny weather. Hopefully we can get some rain. That's what I would hope for. Rain would really slow down this advance. Before we get into our buy and stuff, we have a few things to talk about. First being this situation that I incorrectly executed last turn, which is ironic, being our own concept. Okay, let me use this butter knife as a as a pointer. Excellent. So if you recall, I called this rail bridge destroyed before I moved my units across. And I had this concept backwards in my mind, probably due to the fact that it was approaching midnight and I was experiencing a little bit of brain fog. But the way we are playing this, the correct way, and Captain G allowed me to reverse this. Otherwise, I would have put my entire armored force out of supply, and I would have had to remove it from the board. So when the bridge is damaged, you cannot non-combat across that bridge, but you can make a combat move. Since this was all my territory, I could not make a combat move. So we reverted that bridge back to pre-damage state so that I could non-combat my forces across the bridge. So in this turn, I will destroy this bridge, and I will do that now. I put a little arrow there to remind me. Excellent. So now, this does put this Kiev West out of supply. It is not encircled because this is still held by the Soviets. So if the Germans, the Axis powers, are able to come around and take this, which they cannot blitz 1-2 into a city, that will not happen. So that is the situation with the bridges there. They stop all non-combat movement. Excellent. All right, next up, we have the situation up here in Zenevka, which is the number 3 zone of Leningrad City. If you recall from Captain G's turn, we had an interesting situation, and at first glance, before I completely was on the same page, my assumption was that this did go to the Finns. But after further deliberation with my partner, we did come to the situation, or to the conclusion, rather, that since the Soviets scrambled that fighter, and that fighter still had valid attack targets at the end of turn 1, then it did satisfy the requirement that the Soviets still had defending units at the end of turn 1. So, even though the attackers had ground units, it was unable to kill or suppress all of the defending units in turn 1 because this is a city. Therefore, the overwhelming attacking force was forced to retreat. I believe this is not correct. I need to change this maybe. So the glorious Soviets were able to hold on to Zenevka, saving 10 IPP, loss from this factory. And that was really close. and probably a result of my late night planning, that I did not keep this better defend, as well as my fighters that I had down here that I saw in my non-combat off camera status of forces with Captain G. So we're filming in the morning this time, hoping to avoid some of those situations here. So let's get into some non-combat. We had not a ton to, buy. My goodness. It begins. We didn't have a ton of money to spend, but we were able to add almost, not quite double, but we'll take it. We're going to send up 13 IPPs worth of infantry and a AAA up to Zenevka to reinforce that. We're going to send a truck down to, I haven't decided if it's going to be Stalingrad or Moscow. It probably will be one of the two. And then we're going to put the rest of these infantry in Novograd and Leningrad proper. But let's get into our increase of income. Let's pick Lucky Red. Lucky Red for the Soviets. This is a 3d12. We're playing a minimum of 10 IPP increase. Oh, look at there. Looks like we got 12, 18. That's really good. That is really good. Okay, so off camera, really quickly, I'm just going to add 18 to, I'm just going to throw it on here just so I don't forget. Okay, very good. Now, at this combat sequence, this is where you would destroy your bridges and destroy your rails and all that fun stuff. I took it upon myself to do that prior to save some time. And I'm out of these really nice damaged bridge chips here, these acrylic markers. So I will confess I did order some more last night. But for now, I'm just throwing these blank orange chips. And you're probably saying, well, jeepers, Flack Idiot, aren't you using those for supply? I am. But I am putting a supply chip over those for now. So technically this is 2 supply. This is my damage rail until I get my replacement in the mail. So I'm destroying the rail in Crimea, in Taganrog, and we had a funny name for this one. It was Alphabetograd. And Lubny, and Gamel, Orel, and I believe I'm okay with my situation up here. If you recall, I overcommitted last time here, and that'll set up my fresh attacks on my infrastructure. I don't want to do too much to set myself back, but that'll work. But this does remind me, I do have a partisan to roll up here in Nobel, and I cannot find my actual partisan pieces at the moment. They're probably somewhere. But HPG does sell a partisan specific piece. I have those in the mail as well. So we'll make that part of our attacks. Excellent. Where did my tray go? Very good. Okay. Sitting here at 10 minutes. So we'll do a partisan attack. our infrastructure, our scorched earth is complied with. Next up, we have an attrition attack from the artillery in Leningrad proper. They're going to shoot down to Pskov. That's right. And then lastly, from the airbase in Moscow, Smolensk, and Leningrad, we're going to take all of our bombers. All of our bombers. And they are going to... Let me zoom out here. They are going to fly to Rzhensky. The medium bombers are going to fly to Rzhensky and do a SBR on the supply. The tactical bombers that are coming in are doing a TBR on hopefully some trains, as well as up here. These are going to fly around this fighter blockade to hit the intercepting fighters in Rzhensky with a TBR as well. So that will be 6, 7, 8 tactical bombers and 2 medium bombers doing an attack on the supply. Very, very good. Excellent, excellent, outstanding. Let's roll this out. I'm not in any requirements for a battle board this turn. Nothing is complex or crazy or complicated. So let's roll our partisan here. Partisan rolls an 8, and I'm just going to throw that 8 up there because I don't have my chart with me and I do not recall the results on the top of my head. An 8 might be a destroyed rail. I don't believe that's high enough to remove. But we'll keep it there. We'll check that out. First time playing the Soviets, and I don't recall those on the top of my head as an avid Axis player. So let's move into our attrition. We've got 4 artillery shooting. Oops, that does not count. Shooting down to Pskov. So here we go. Here's 4 artillery at 4. We're looking for 4s or less. 6, 9, 6, 5. Miss, miss, miss. That was horrendous. That was awful. We need to look into that situation. Put some people in the gulag for that. That was awful. Horrendous. Okay, let's get some new dice. New dice. Okay. So let's do. We have to do an intercept here. Since we've got bombers coming in, we have defending fighters. So we've got 3 defending fighters. Let's give the defending fighters gray. Let's make all these random colorful dice attacking. So let's give the fighters intercept 3. That is half of their normal combat value. And then we're going to give the tactical bombers and the medium bombers intercept 1. So we have all of these rascals at 1. So let's roll these together. See how we do. Look at here. Looks like we've got 2 hits on against myself from the German fighters. That was really good. Nice work. Nice work. And looks like we didn't hit a single... We didn't get lucky here. That would have been fun to shoot down some fighters. But nonetheless, we will lose 2 bombers. So we will remove those now before they get to attack. Okay, so 2 bombers down the chutes. Yeah, I'm just gonna lose 2 tacticals. So let's roll our medium bomber first. And we're gonna roll 4 at 3, and these are to attack the supplies that are there in Rzhensky. So A 3 or less is a hit, and I'll take supplies off the thing. Wow, that is terrible. We missed completely. Absolutely terrible. I should have taken those off instead, yeah? Alright, let's try some new dice. That's gotta help us, right? Alright, tactical bombers 3 or less, and we get a target select. I'm really hoping to get 3 hits here. I want to kill those trains. These ones right here. Oh, come on, dice. 1. We got 1. Okay, all right. The dice gods have spoken. We will kill 1 train for the price of 2 tactical bombers. I'm not sure if that quite mathed out, but it is what it is. Okay. All right, not the most exciting and extravagant Soviet combat turn, but it is turn 2. Times are tough. All right, let's move into some non-combat before this video gets too terribly long. Okay, so we are going to move out of Kiev before we are, quite honestly, very easily encircled. And once we are encircled, those troops are gone. We have no supplies here, 0. And I figured that was his plan after he targeted my supplies there last turn. So let's move our 2 movers to Kronozgrad. 1, 2. If you recall, last game, Kronozgrad was where the great breakout attempt was of the Soviet army here in Donetsk. So that still lives fresh in my mind. 1, 2 light tanks and 1 self-propelled artillery. I'm using the Katusha sculpts. They stick out really nicely. So those are our 2 movers moving here to Kronozgrad. The infantry cannot move 2, and I do not have trucks to sufficiently move them, so they're going to move 1 to Lubny. The medium bomber, the tactical bombers here, which had no supply and could not attack this turn, are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 up to Smolensk. Excellent. Excellent. All right, we're going to do some shifting here. 2 infantry from Kharkiv West is going to slide to Kronozgrad. The fighters in Donetsk are going to go 1, 2 into East Kharkiv, try to defend those factories as long as we don't get rain. Because there's no air base here. If there is rain, those fighters are grounded. From this truck's going to move 1 supply, 1, 2, and 3 infantry, 1, 2, into Donetsk. Very, very good. The 4 infantry in Donetsk are going to slide up into Kronozgrad, attempting a little bit of a defense force here. The best that we can muster, anyhow. This infantry is trapped. We have a destroyed bridge here, so he is stuck. He is stuck to soak up any attacks, slow down the enemy for the glory of Russia. Wonderful. Okay. Sliding down here. We're just going to move these guys straight up. Very good. And you probably recall me talking about the situation here in Odessa. Going along with my brain fog, we had gone back and forth on how we were going to play that supply and the port there. So the port would give a supply path. So even though we were surrounded by land, supply path was still traced through the port. But not physically having supply here, these units that were in Odessa could not make it a combat out. But they they could defend. They could defend just fine. But I negated to move any defenders there, just thinking that it was a lost cause. So, but we are also not moving anything to Sevastopol. So, moving on as I ramble. Moving on as I ramble up here to the Moscow area. We're going to take the 2 trucks out of Smolensk. 1, 2, 3, 4 up here to Moscow. Very good. This truck here is going to take these 3 infantry, this 1 infantry. They're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to Novgorod. Novgorod. Say it correctly, Flak 88. Okay, very good. Before I forget, these 2 fighters that are in Moscow, they're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How did we count that before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, stand by. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 5. They're going to go up to Zenevka. And then that fighter that scrambled from Leningrad last turn is still in Leningrad. Very good. I knew there was a way. I just couldn't remember how I was going to get there. Supplies and Klein are going to slide down into Bordino. Excellent. The supplies in, what is this? Kalinin. They're going to come down to Kishinev. Yep, Kishinev. Very good. The armored force that I have here in Kalinin is sliding up to Novgorod. And that's just a movement of 1. The truck in Tikhvin is going to move down 1, 2 to Novgorod, moving 3 infantry. And the supplies are just going to bounce down 1. That stack of supply that I moved last minute is going to slide up to Leningrad proper. The infantry that was there in this pronounced Tyarlovo, that was pretty horrendous. They're going to slide up here to Zenevka. This is up in the top left corner of the screen. And then the 3 infantry in Klein, they're going to 1, 2 via the truck into Novgorod. So we've got some trucks, we've got some armor, we got some things over here. That concludes our non-combat. At this point, I will take supply costs. So there's 1. Let me zoom in here. There's 2 from this depot, 1 from this depot. We were completely out of actual supply chips. 1 from up here. Captain G likes to call this paying your supply tax, which I think is hilarious. That's good. I mean it works. And then lastly up here. So we are running low on supply. But fortunate enough, I have the nice distance retrospect to my factories, so I can at least build some when need be. But I will pause here to set out our call to arms. Once again, our free infantry in the city zones, 1 for each victory point value. So stand by. All right, welcome back. We just put out our call to arms for infantry amongst all the city zones. As you can see here, we'll continue with our non-combat phase, our place unit phase. We're going to put our truck here at the factory in Stalingrad. Very good. You can remember I did not pay any damage here. So being 4 of the 10, 12, I believe 10, I can only build a max of 6 units there because 4 capacity of that factory is removed via the damage. But moving up north, this is where the most dire attention is put. In Zenivka, we're going to put these infantry, 9 infantry, and 1 AAA. Haha. In Novigrad, we're going to put, let's see, we're going to put 1 AAA and 1 infantry, and I'll chip these out when I do a status of forces for my partner. And then lastly, we're going to throw another 6 infantry in Leningrad, and we'll stack these here. Very good, very good. Okay, we do not want to lose Leningrad. Losing Leningrad proper will give the Finns full release of their units, and we don't want that. So we'll use the city there to our advantage the best we can. But otherwise, we'll wrap up this Soviet 2.2. Thank you all for watching this game of Barbarossa. These new rules we're testing. I really hope that this gives revived life to this game. It certainly has become very fun for Captain G and myself. So, without any more rambling, let's kick this off to the most important part. Where is my box? There we go. We have combat initiative and weather. Combat initiative and weather. So we'll do red for Soviets, gray for the Axis. I believe I rolled for initiative last turn, but the Germans get initiative for the first 2 turns. So I'm glad I didn't screw that up. But I believe now we are officially rolling for initiative. We'll roll that yellow die for weather. And 8 through 11 will be rain. 12 will be snow. Anything less, 7 or less, will be good weather. So here we go. Weather is good. Germans got a 9. Soviets got a 12. Outstanding. That means the Soviets, turn 3. We get initiative, and we get to push for another round of defense and attack here. Excellent. Excellent. Well, we'll cut this down here, and we'll see you all for 3.1, the Soviet turn. Excellent. On behalf of my partner, Captain G, this is Flak88. Thank you for watching.